Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus pilot, and in today's video we are going to have a look into another fuel saving method, and that is through the pack flow selector on the air conditioning panel of the A320. Now we have just gotten our final load sheet, and this one tells us our estimated number of passengers here, today 150 plus 5. And depending on the number of passengers, we are going to set our pack flow selector. Note that you can already pre-select it during the pre-flight procedure, as the pack flow selector is overruled by the APU bleed, and whenever the APU bleed is active, high pressure will be provided regardless of the pack flow selector position. Now, depending on the operator, you are going to find different information as to when the pack flow selector is to be set into which position. Now, in my operator on the A320 fleet, we select 141 and less for the low position. So when you've got less than 141 passengers, you would select pack flow low. What this does is rather easy. It takes less air for the air conditioning packs, and therefore less air is bled from the engines, thereby reducing the amount of fuel required, by reducing the amount of total air required, and thus achieving a saving. Now, let's quickly talk about when to use the high position then. Well, the high position is basically only used when it is abnormally hot or humid in order to help cooling the airplane down. Normally, the norm position is completely sufficient in order to achieve a proper cooling of the airplane. Only if cooling really can't be achieved, that is when you would use the high position. Now, getting back to the overall system logic here of the pack flow selector and whether to select the low or the norm or whatever position. Now, this is actually a rather antique method of doing this. Newer Airbuses have an optional system where you can simply enter the amount of passengers on your init page. So over here in that field that is blank here in the Phoenix, you would have a pax number field, and there you just enter the number of passengers that you have on board, and then the system is automatically going to select the exact pack flow needed for that amount of passengers, completely removing the need for a pack flow selector up here on the overhead panel. But as I mentioned, that is an optional system that has only been recently introduced. It's been available on the A330 for a little bit longer. On the A320 it's still a rather new system, but it is available these days. Now, finishing this one off then, as I mentioned, in my airline we select low when the passenger number is below 141. If you search over the internet, you will find many numbers varying between 115 as the lowest I found and about 150 as the highest I found, with a few Asian carriers actually opting for always pack flow low regardless of the amount of passengers on board. Now, finally, to finish this video off, let's quickly talk about a couple of the operational items that might come up when you select pack flow low. Especially when you're operating in rather warm areas. Once you're in the air, and especially when you finish your climb, so when the thrust is reduced towards cruise thrust, or later when the thrust is reduced towards idle for the descent, it might happen that you get an advisory on either the air conditioning page or on the bleed page, indicating that the pack flow is too low and you need to switch the selector back to the norm position in order to resume normal pack and system operation, and for the cabin to be able to or for the computer to be able to keep the cabin up to schedule. That happens. When it does, nothing to worry about. It's just an advisory and therefore not a warning or anything the likes. So there you got it. That's about everything that you need to know on the very quick version of the pack flow selector. I do hope you found this one interesting. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comments below, and I'm very much looking forward to your feedback. Now, if you're an actual Airbus pilot and your company uses different numbers, please do share them in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do hope that you found this interesting. As always, if you did, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I see you all again on the next one.